Hey everybody, this is Jack Allwile, back again with Brothers on Books podcast. On the previous video, we discussed No One's Crazy, the first chapter in the book, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Once again, what a book, highly recommended. 20 independent chapters, 19 chapters, bit of a summary of the first 18. 20th is kind of how he views his investing. But anyway, let's get to chapter 2, which is luck and risk. Now, luck and risk are siblings. The example they use in the book is Bill Gates himself. Now, Bill Gates was one of 300 kids in a school with access to a computer on the planet. At the time, there were roughly 300 million kids in that age group on the planet. So we are talking literally a 1 in a million chance of having access to a computer in this age group. Now, they contrast this lucky scenario to one of Bill Gates' friends. This is one of his brilliant friends that was almost, well, sounds like as sharp as Bill, and Bill and him, I think his last name was Kent, they spoke a lot and talked a lot about their future. Now, unfortunately, this kid died in a mountaineering accident. And they're saying that every year around 3 dozen people die in mountaineering accidents. And the odds of being killed on a mountain in high school are 1 in a million. So these are the two stories they use to illustrate luck and its sibling risk. Now, I think he got some of this chapter from Annie Duke's book, Thinking in Bets, because what he's trying to say is you should try to separate a decision from the result. And in Annie, he doesn't call it this in this book, but I think this is kind of the idea that Annie Duke talks about in her book, Thinking in Bets, this idea that she calls resulting, where a lot of times if you're asked, what great decision did you make? A lot of times you will pick a decision that you made that had a good result. If you had a bad result, you often would not say that was a great decision. If you moved your life across the country for the hopes of a better opportunity, it turned out bad, a lot of people would say that was a bad decision because the result was bad. And this chapter and in Annie Duke's book, they're trying to say you need to look at just the decision and kind of look at it more in a sliding scale of probabilities and try to separate that decision from the result. Now, the ultra successful probably have had a good bit of luck, and a lot of the people possibly hanging out on the street, homeless, have probably had some risk that has hurt them in some way. So I think the takeaway from this is not to look down upon people that are necessarily like on the street or appear like they're failing. It's to acknowledge the roles of luck and risk in our lives. And there's a good way to sum it up is it's never as good as or as bad as it seems. I mean, most people would say that the extremely wealthy people have probably had some sort of luck. And this external factor has probably influenced their life quite a bit. So on the flip side, if you've lost confidence, maybe you've come into contact with some risk or some bad luck. So, and he kind of finishes this chapter off by giving some words of advice that be careful who you praise and admire, because and be careful who you look down upon and wish to avoid becoming, because risk and luck do play such a vital role in our lives. And he finishes off by saying, therefore, focus more on broad patterns and not so much specific individuals, because the more extreme the outcome, the less likely you can apply its lessons to your own life, because the more likely the outcome was influenced by extreme ends of luck or risk. And I will see you on the next video. Chapter 3, Never Enough.